Hello, I'm Tim Elliott, and welcome to the Outsiders podcast, the trail running podcast about more than trail running. In this podcast, we focus less on the gear and the races and the performance, and more on the holistic benefits of trail running, connecting with nature and nurturing the mind and body and soul. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Anthony Oram. So, Mr. O, who are you?
Good afternoon. I am, as you say, Anthony Oram. I am a graphic designer based in Frome in Somerset, but trail runner and mountain biker also.
Mountain biker also. We will talk about a bit of the kit and stuff that you design because it's lovely, and I felt quite like the ethos behind it later on. But we'll uncover more of that in the chat for sure. So, Ant, have you always been an outsider, or is it something that's come into your life later on?
I'd say that I had always been an outsider. I think we come from that generation. I mean, I don't know how old you are, Tim, actually.
I'm 46, I
46,
think.
yeah. So I turned 50 last year. And I was from the time before computers, so or home computers, should we say. So when I was a kid, you left the house at 9 in the morning and you got back at tea time or before it got dark. So all day, every day was spent outside as much as you could or the weather allowed. I think only when maybe 12, 13 when computers became a thing or home computers. And then still preferred the outside. Just sort of playing around with your mates, playing in the woods, playing hide and seek, jumping over cereal boxes on bikes down the road,
Making ramps. They were the
making
thing.
ramps.
Oh my God.
The times before health and safety.
Yeah. Yeah. I was chatting about those times because my mates ran a local bike shop and motorbike shop. Their parents run it, right? So every weekend we go up there and it's sold when mountain bikes overtook BMXs, they booked mountain bikes and stuff. So we had all the specialized bits, and we made a little mountain bike team at 15, the only one in the East Midlands. But there was four of us in it, and it was exciting. But we did all sorts of crazy stuff. Like we'd cycle from here to Skegness, which is the nearest coast to us in Lincolnshire, to have a bag of chips and come back. And it's like I don't know, nearly a 3 hour drive. So it must have been like, let's go out at 8 o'clock after breakfast and then back for tea. Job. Go, where have you been? Oh, I've been to Skegness. And your parents are like, of course you have. I went, no, I have. I've been to Skegness. Because there was no phones, there was no proof, right? I couldn't check in on Facebook.
Nobody knew where you were.
No, I'd just gone, just out for a bit. But that sort of stuff happened a lot, I think. And I was reminiscing with somebody who's got kids and wouldn't like just really kind of babysits them. And I don't know if it's more, I'm not getting into the fact if it's more dangerous now or not. Do you know what I mean? Or who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows, right? But like just seems like I was like, they'll be all right. It's in that field that we can see from the garden. Like I went to Matlock on my own. I do you know what? When I was 11, didn't even know what was happening. Didn't have a helmet, didn't have a watch, didn't have a phone. Just made it back of my own sheer will and persistence and hunger for the next meal, I think, because didn't have any money either.
No, yeah. Like you get like a pound pocket money. And that would last you a week.
A pound bought a lot in them days, though.
It did.
I think like you could definitely get chips and a Coke for £1, I would
Oh
say.
yeah, easily.
For sure. For sure. But that was good. So what about the I think that's a good foundation, right? That young people sort of so when did that kind of morph into more purposeful use, like than recreation, like with trail running or the mountain biking sort of thing? Is it you've just evolved throughout your life, or is it whether I call it like in my life, like there was definitely a catalyst, like a tipping point to when that happened, like a reason for it. What about
Yeah,
you?
there's a couple of different things. So I think there's a guy in our village called John Welland who used to take us like rock climbing, abseiling, things like that, which was awesome fun. No health and safety, no helmets. I've got pictures of abseiling down a cliff without a helmet. Uh, uh, and then I think at school, our school did a thing called 10 Tours, which is a competition hike across Dartmoor, which was really good fun, really challenging as well, really hard. And then Duke of Edinburgh Awards, I did all of the bronze, but then really, I think that's when I realised I liked the outdoors bit and not the rest of it. And so when other people went on to do silver and gold, I just helped out on the hiking bit to make up the numbers because they couldn't do it unless they had a group of 6 or something like that. So I was always the one that would go, yeah, I'll do it. And then cross country running at school. Again, a lot of people hated it. I was just, yeah, like, give me the mud and the cold. I'm there. So I used to represent my school at county championships cross country running. Oh, to say here, I was not good. I was dreadful.
Just representing.
Yeah, I came last, but I enjoyed it, and so I've always liked it. But then there was this big gap where life went very wrong, and I just didn't do anything in the outdoors at all, really. And then started, when I lived in London, had a panic attack problem, anxiety issues, should we say. And so I bought a bike and just rode everywhere. I didn't get on a tube. Like after about the first 2 years in London, I don't think I got on a tube again. So like 8 years without getting on a tube. And my flatmate at the time bought a bike as well. So we'd then go off sort of trying to find more countrysides. We'd ride down to Wimbledon or Richmond Park. And then we started getting the train out to Surrey to go to Surrey Hills. And then we spend more money on bikes. And it got more and more expensive. And running, I think I was a very heavy smoker. And somebody challenged me to do a run. I think it was called the Adidas Breakfast Run in about, I don't know, year 2000 or 2002, something like that. And I was like, yeah, I used to like running, didn't I? And so I started training for that. It was 14K, I think. And I was still smoking. I can remember standing on the start line with a roll up and everyone just looking at me as if I was some sort of proper arsehole, which was fair enough. But then started running again more, just really found my passion for it again. And yeah, I'm not a competitive runner. I run purely for joy, as it were. And so from that, the last sort of 20 years, I've run consistently, but more in the last maybe 8 years, the mountain biking has dropped off and running has become like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, a constant thing there. And I think it's a lot to do with mental health, if I'm completely honest. It's that escape from the computer and deadlines and, I don't know, life problems. And just, you and a trail in the woods, you can't beat it.
No, and I have to say, like, check out Ant's Instagram because his morning run shots. Like, I like a morning run, but you're a good hour and a half before me, it seems. Like when I get up, you've already been on a run and took a beautiful photo.
I'll let you into a secret there. That's not always a run. That's walking the dog quite a lot of the time.
That's all right. It all counts. It's all out. But yeah, it's like we'll put it in. I'll put it in the show notes and you can check it out. But I think that's like very like a lot of my friends and a lot of people in our like we spoke to Graham TBD Raw Porridge earlier in the episodes, and that crew that we mentioned with Bagwell and Mark Shaler and that unit of humans who seem to be congregating around like together in the world of Instagram. A lot of people have that same life went wrong gap. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then I've gone, oh, hold on a second. Like, none of this stuff like mine was a revelation of like none of this stuff mattered because I spent my life marketing, which is I kind of like not doing shit marketing, if I'm like do it not not all bullshit, but like it didn't really matter. Do you know, like it was there's a lot of flash and a lot of kind of inventing and a lot of like networking and schmoozing stuff and spending other people's money to make them look fancy. And things like and God bless marketing. Like I call myself like in the marketing AA now. Like I'm like formally, I'd still like to do it, but I don't touch it now. Do you know? Like it's in there somewhere. Um, but mine was very same, and that life went wrong up a couple. Like it was at we finished our agency in 2016, and I got a couple of corporate wanky CMO jobs. I was like, this is not my people. When there was beer and lunch and 4 hour lunches and like champagne networking dues and like fancy boxes at rugby and cricket, which I've never understood cricket. I don't know how it went. Like just a lot of people standing still, it seemed.
You just
In
went
the thing.
along with it.
I just went along and it was just like, what am I doing? Like like the gap between there was always I could feel the disconnection with how I was spending a lot of the time, right? And I think coincidentally like that happened and I started to have the similar kind of mental health issues with anxiety, just like lack of interest for one. That's not a full medical term, but like
What you have, sir, is a lack of interest.
yes, what you are is you're bored, mate, is what you are. But like just such a disconnection from stuff like all the expectations had like it was good money, had a good car, had a house, had wife, kids, dogs. Well, not dogs at that point, like she came later on, but ticked all the boxes you were meant to tick from all of the businessy books and American coaches. And we're just like ticked all those though, like, and nothing's really happening. Do I get more stuff? And it was that like I rediscovered. We did a challenge at work for which was an investment company at the time, because there was a local charity in Leicester called Hope for Cancer that was very blue in its brand. So you had to accumulate miles as a team, all dressed in blue, and take photos for it and stuff. And I was like, oh, I used to like running. I was very similar to you. I used to do the mile and cross country, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty good. My dad was pretty good. Like before he passed he was an elite veteran. He did a 2:52 marathon at 55 years of age or something like
Wow,
ridiculous.
that's good.
I am not that fast. Just like it didn't come in the genes,
Sadly.
unfortunately. Yeah, but he smoked as well. I don't think it. I don't. Maybe it's an unhidden thing. Um, but we did this charity thing, and I started running. And I couldn't make the 5K loop around my house without
Mm.
walking and going, "What happened? I should definitely be able to run 5K. This is ridiculous." Do you know what I mean? Like, and it made kind of a stop to look at a situation, to look at myself, like going, this is definitely a thing I should be able to do, right? And it was nice fighting that and spending time in nature because we're on the edge of a village or a small town, so the countryside is that way, like
Mm.
in front of me. So it was not in the city. It was definitely out there, and it was just a catalyst for figuring it out. And that rolled into kind of Matt Bagwell's first run the country ultra stuff
Mm.
a little bit, um, which was just came at the right time and the good group of people who were supportive and seemed to be in the same space and not looking for. There was no kind of judgment or comparison or wanky run club people invests like wondering why he didn't do 20 seconds faster that loop.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is nice. And I like just kind of got into it, but it was that there seems to be that catalyst, that gap, right? That when life went wrong piece that kickstarts a lot of people's outsider rediscovery or exploration, right?
Mm.
I think I think there's I want to kind of unpack that rediscovery and re-exploration at kind of midlife a bit later on. I mean, one of your brands or one of your websites, if I got it right, is We Are Explorers. Is that all right? Or We Are All
Yeah.
Explorers.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Um, I really like the ethos behind that. Like, is there any thinking about, or is it just cool? I know you're a designer, so it might just be cool brand. But what's their thinking behind that, or the ethos behind that sort of thing?
So it was originally something that I was going to do with a friend about 12 years ago, and we just never quite we came up with a name. And the whole point was the fact that, like, when you think of explorers, you think of like this unachievable thing, and that's out of reach for a lot of people. But we're all explorers in our own right. So if you go down a trail you've never been down before, you're exploring. But it can relate to work as well. Like if you're trying something new in work, you're exploring. So I don't know. I just wanted to demystify or de something or other that it's not doesn't have to be. You don't have to go to Everest or the
Yeah.
South Pole or the North Pole to be an explorer. We can all be explorers in our own right, and it doesn't have to cost you $80,000 to have 10 people pretty much carry you to the top of Everest. It's you can go on you can go to Snowdon for the first time if you've never done it, and you're an explorer. You might not be treading new ground, but you're treading new ground for you, and I think that's the important thing.
I love that. I think that's a really good mindset to have, and it's aligned with a lot of the benefits of doing the exploring, like being outside, is opening. Like I always say, for example, that like trail running is my biggest teacher. It's taught me for the last few years of where my limits are, like, and how to push past them, and
Mm.
like conquered all the horrible little naggy voices in the back of your head, like doubt and fear and lack of confidence and things, like, because it's just about moving forward for them, like, and being present and taking the next step, right? Which I think is a lesson that we can all that is spreadable,
Yeah.
right? That lives by example. And I love that explorer's mindset, that sense of adventure. A little bit like what you said a minute ago as well. The you said the word escapism.
Did I?
Yeah, which is a
Well,
nice word.
yeah,
Um,
that's why we do these things, right? It's to escape. Life can be pretty mundane when it's all about mortgages and your ever increasing utility bills. And I think we need an escape from that. And I think for me, especially, I think it is that harking back to a gentler time or a simpler time when you were a kid and you just go out and jump in puddles and play. I think that's why I do mountain biking and trail running rather than road running and road cycling. I don't want to be amongst the fumes. Like whenever I go for a run around my town, I'm just like, oh, this is horrible. And so, 90% of my runs are trail running because I don't want to be surrounded by fumes. I want to be in trees, jumping in puddles, getting, if I don't get home muddy, then what have I been doing?
yeah,
And
yeah.
but then trail running is easier than mountain biking in that sense as well. It's cheaper and there's less mud to clear up.
It's less mud to clear up. Well, not recently. It's been very wet where I am. It's a
Oh,
bit
that's true.
like
Yeah.
a competition, like
A dry
everywhere.
trail would be a beautiful thing at the moment, wouldn't it?
I've had two dry shoe runs this year. Two. See,
Not bad.
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But I love that art, that art of escapism, like the like adventure and exploration and escapism. I think are, I don't know what the right word is for them, but like skills or behaviors or mindsets that are really beneficial, but can have a kind of a negative connotation. So if if we're like we were talking about when we were young, in that generation, if somebody was saying, "Oh, he's always looking to escape," or like he's into escapism, and like it'll be like a daydreamer or a bit of a. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, at this point in my life, I'm like searching for that and purposefully after escapism. Like I want a
Yeah.
different perspective. I want to get out. And the same with the the same with all those sorts of like adventurous, like people think it could be and the same with outsiders, the word, right? We come, it's a bit of an outsider. Like he doesn't really join in. Like he likes to stand in a puddle in the rain at 6 o'clock in the morning instead of like instead of joining the fancy neon gym where people shout at you for some reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the contrast between those two things are massive, I think. I don't know if they show up in like as tools you use as you look in your life currently.
I don't know really. For me, it's the things that I choose to do are more about the fun stuff rather than the maths, if that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of the time, sport can be about marginal gains and
Yeah.
doing something better. But for me, I'm that's not why I do it. I don't. You try to talk to me about cadence with running, I'd be like, what? Like I have no idea. Like I'm not technical in it at all. It is purely time away from normal life. Not that my life's bad,
No,
it's all right, all things considered. We've got a house, got our health, but there's life. I need more from life. I need that time. I need to feel the weather. Um, you know, the weekend I was up in Brecon Beacons and it was very windy and very wet, as it has been for the last few times I've been. But I kind of enjoy that. I want to get windswept. So I want to know that this is hard. Like things, I think things, it's good to have hard things to do. That makes sense.
yeah.
But some hard things are, you can go too hard, like 100-mile run. That's too hard for me. Like that's never going to happen.
No, no, I've tried a 100-mile run, not in a race. I'm not one for events, if I'm honest. I'm not one for sharing my run with thousands of other people. I quite like a social run with a group of people,
Yeah.
but I don't, I'm not keen on sharing that experience. Like doing it for the solitude is like a big part of why I do it and the
So you'd
benefits that
never
it
do the
gives.
London Marathon then?
Not really. I am doing the Great North Run this year for
That's
a
pretty
local
much the same.
charity. Yeah, for a local charity, they've asked me to be part of their team, and I thought, well, you're a good charity, why not? Like, but
Fair play.
it's not my usual running scene, I have to say.
How
But
far's the Great North Run? Is that a
it's only a
marathon?
half. Yeah,
Oh,
it's only a half, so it's not bad. But like the 100-mile stuff, like because I got into trail running like through kind of run the country ultra and remembering cross country and
mm.
revisiting my local school cross country track, which I thought was massive, was really long.
Yeah.
It turns out to be 2.7K long. I
That's
was
madness, isn't
I was very disappointed because I was like, I'm sure. Like we were out for like hours
it?
doing
Yeah.
the doing the thing, but it's not that bad. There is a killer of a hill still though. I don't know. But I got into trail running. I went, oh, that's amazing. Like, I love this doing difficult stuff. I love the sense of challenge because I had a really like in that bit where life went wrong, where it took over, and I did loads of businessy stuff. There was nothing was difficult. Like my life has been good. I have I have a wife. I have health relatively to some people. Like we live in a decent place. Like there's no like the bads aren't massively bad. Like
Yeah.
compared, and the goods aren't massively good either. But like that middle is fine. Um, so I was looking for real difficult stuff, and I found the UTMB. For those of you who don't know UTMB, Google it. It's the massive corporate juggernaut of trail running. But it's technically the UTMB is it's a 107-mile race round Chamonix, round Mont Blanc in Chamonix in France. It's like the Olympic final of trail running. It's sort of thing like all the world's biggest and best. Well, not all the world's biggest and best go there, but that sort of idea, right? It's marketed as the ultimate test, let's say.
Right.
But I thought, I'll train for that. That'll be good. Let's go for that. That can't be that difficult. And I got a coach because I didn't know anything. I'd never run more than 4 hours. So I was like, I have no idea what that looks like, if I'm honest. Didn't know about heart rate. Didn't really know about food. Just used to man it
Zones.
out. Yeah. Didn't know about effort zones and stuff. But I quickly realized that I did all right. Got to a good state, but tried a 100-mile race out of 2 hours, 100-mile run of 2 hours on, 20 minutes walking, 2 hours on, 20 minutes walking up the canal, which goes for miles. Like I can get to like Manchester on my canal. Like so I was like, okay, there's no hills. And I only got 64 miles, but
That's a long way.
it is a long way. It is a long way, but I was perfectly happy with going, no, I've run enough now. Like this is in theory, there was no hills and there was little nice cafes along the way, which is lovely. But I'd had enough. Like I was like, I don't want to do another run. I don't do any more running. I've been running for 9 hours now. Like I've had enough running. Like, and that feeling hasn't gone away. Like I have no desire to do a 12-hour, 24-hour run, if
No,
I'm honest.
I don't know. It's an interesting concept. I don't think I'm supposed to be doing an ultra next weekend. Next weekend? No, the weekend after.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not. I'm going to drop out of the first aid station because I've been injured for
Yes.
6 months or something, and I've just started getting back, and I can now run a half marathon again, and that's good enough for me. It's. I've done 4 ultras in my time, and I don't think I enjoy it that much. There's obviously that sense of achievement afterwards,
Yeah.
but what I love that, like nipping out the front door, 7 to 10K run, and that's where I find I'm in flow state, and that is where the joy is for me.
Yeah.
I can. Before I was injured, I was running a half marathon every weekend in my training for UTS, Ultra Trail Snowdonia, for people who are interested. But then as I upped my training and it started getting more complicated, because again, I had a coach as well, and it's all about heart rate, staying in different zones of your heart rate. And I just lost the fun of why I run. And I wanted to get back to why do I run? I run for me and my mental health, not to try and prove anything to myself. And although it is fun, retrospect, doing an ultra, I don't enjoy it when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure anybody has had that experience from
no, maybe not. No. I'm sure fit people do, but I don't have the dedication required to do the strength and conditioning, to do the zone 2 runs for 4 hours. It ruins running for me. So I'm although I did sign up for this one, I just want to get back. When I was injured, what I missed was those 3 or 4 runs a week where I'm happy at a really nice speed. And that's what makes me smile. Trying to run 50K over Snowdon doesn't make me smile.
No, I can see that. I like again, the word you mentioned earlier that I wrote down, it like the simplicity of trail running. I go on about a lot to people who don't do it. I was like because it's better than road running, because like road running, like you have to go fast, to get across the roads or away from the people, or that's what happens to me anyway. But but on trail, like you have to be there's a lovely lady I mentioned in the last podcast as well called Mia Oldroyd. She's a young like YouTuber girl
Mm,
from Catterick, like Richmond in the Yorkshire Moors. Like she's only 20 odd, I think. But she documented her running journey, and she's got a good like an old soul, so she's quite meditative, and she has a like a meditation practice and stuff like that. And she had a really good phrase and a YouTube video called "Just Be Where Your Feet Are," right?
mm,
And it's the simplicity of that. Like I can't think of a better sentence than "Just be where your feet are." Like
yeah,
because you have just remember to breathe and move forward, and in my case, don't fall over ideally
yeah.
because that happens.
It happens. Yeah, it happens. But sometimes there's no avoiding that.
No, sometimes it's part of the fun. Although
Yeah.
my wife, I get home, my wife goes, "If you fell over," I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And she's like, "You're 46. You should be falling over." I was like, "I don't know. I fell over down a hill. Like it was fine.
It's fine.
It
It's
went
good for you. It's
fine.
good for you.
You're bleeding on your knees like you were 11." I was like, "I know. I don't know." But it's that simplicity, right? That there's nothing else that is there apart from you, your feet, the air you're breathing, the current rain situation. Like there's a like an honesty or a truth about that it's hard to find in other, like a simplicity of it that's hard to find in other aspects of life, I think.
Yeah, and we can overcomplicate it, don't we? As if we wanted to talk about kit,
Sure.
running is possibly the cheapest sport you can do. As in, realistically, you only need a pair of trainers. Doesn't end up that way as you get more. But I think people think that you have to be training for a race to run,
Yeah.
whereas I want to remove, you don't have to, sign up for a marathon where you'll train for 16, 20 weeks, do a marathon and never run again. I'd prefer people to just run twice, 3 times a week and never do a marathon, but run for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
That's where I think the important thing happens in the way you feel about yourself and committing to something. It's I see a lot of people who do marathons and that they never run again. And I find that a real shame because was the training too hard or was the run just running with all those people? What makes them stop after that? Maybe we should interview people about why
Yeah.
they haven't run after it.
That'd be quite good. Maybe I'll do have to, I might nick that idea. Like
You
why
can have one.
why have you stopped running?
Yeah.
Thanks. But
Well, I was running up a trail. It was a couple of years ago, and I have this I think it's 7.3 kilometer loop from my house, and I love it. And every time I never get bored of it because every step's different. That's the beauty of trail running. It's like
yeah.
finding a slightly different route around a bend. But I was running up this hill, and it's the only hill that I like running up. And I think it's because it's technical and rocky. And there was these four older ladies who sort of like stepped to the side of the path. And they're like, "Oh, what are you training for? What are you training for?" And I was like, "Life. Like it's nothing. It's nothing. This is what life is. I want to retain a certain level of fitness. Like if I stop running now, I'd be 20 stone in 2 years."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's important for me to carry on. I'd rather carry on running 3 times a week for the next 20 years than do another ultra marathon. Put it that way.
Yeah. And I like one of the things I discovered since rediscovering the love of like moving outdoor through the outdoors and stuff is that it's a practice. Like I have a yoga practice. I'm not particularly good at yoga either, if I'm honest, but I do enjoy doing it. Like it
Right. Yeah.
makes me feel considerably less rigid than I
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
previously. I don't think I do any of the shapes particularly properly. You wouldn't want to watch a YouTube video of me doing a yoga show,
No, I have the same
let's
feeling
say.
about me as well.
But like it's the art of a practice, right? Like yoga or breath work or running is in my calendar. Like when I'm planning my calendar and my day and my work and what stuff I have to do in life, like that's the stuff that go, well, I definitely know that's in there. Like and could do it without thinking because it's the foundation from what allows me to be kind of and this is a bit of a wanky term, effective elsewhere. Do you know what,
Right.
like when I had an injury as well last year. I had a like shit show of a year last year. My I had to care for my dad who was in palliative care, who was really old, and he passed away in August. But also that corresponded with a 5 month like ankle issue that
Mm.
stopped me running. I could ponkle about occasionally, but like I wasn't allowed to run up or down a hill, which kind of ruined it. Like so it was road stuff, and that period of time was like one that gave me such kind of perspective on just the ability, like you say, to do my favorite little 10k 12k trail down the road at Cork
Yeah.
Abbey, like when it's 7 o'clock and nobody's there, not even the dog walkers are out at that time because you have to drive into the park, and it's a bit of a thing. Like so it's me, squirrels, deers, that sort of
Nice.
thing. That sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like, and the weather and silence and all the sounds of nature. And I missed that so much. Like, and I was trying to refill it with other goals like weight training and other things, and then like walking loads and trying to get on the what do you call them watt bike in the gym, the computer cycling watt bike thing, which was all right, kept me moving, allowed me not to be 20 stone when I rejoined running, which was good.
Yeah.
Um, but just didn't have the same boxes, right? There wasn't any freedom like
Yeah.
exercising in the gym. There wasn't any exploration. There wasn't any escapism. It was a workout because if I don't work out, like I'm still eating like I run ultras. This is
Yeah.
I need to do something else.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that's one of the best bits about running far is you can eat what you want.
yeah, yeah.
That is a bonus.
That is a bonus. That is a bonus. But it's yeah, it's one of those things. I've started to. We chatted a little bit before, like pre-recording, that relates to this about the opportunity. I should get into these sort of things and being creative people. Like you're a designer, and I like work with creativity a lot. Like opportunities come up to merge the two worlds, like merge the worlds of outsiders and trail running with work stuff. Like I've designed a series of things called urban trail runs for the Derbyshire, Move More Derbyshire, which is to get people out of their inner city houses and use their green spaces to appreciate that, but also learn
Nice.
trail running around a park and stuff.
Mm.
Um, and become a run leader of like a local social run group to get people going again for there's like loads of like run talk walk mental health groups and stuff, and I started to get involved in these and go, oh yeah, like I'd love to do that. And then I was like, oh, hold on, like I'm now running an additional 4 times a week because I
Wow.
have to run for
Yeah. Yeah.
like for a work thing. I'm not sure that kind of compute, but you seem to have bridged that by using your design skills to design beautiful cool products like the Punk Rock Run Club and auxiliary wear and We Are All Explorers, right? Is that just what's the thinking behind that? Like, is it just your mind going off into like connecting the outside world and the experience and creating stuff? Because there's nice messages and ethos behind your work, your design work, I think.
Well,
Like,
it all came about, I think, because one, I hate marketing. So if I didn't have any client work on, then I would, rather than do marketing, I would design things that interest me. So I'll design something that I want to put on my wall or something that I want to wear, and then hope that other people would like to do the same. Um, and then by doing it, I'm doing marketing, but in a way that I want to do marketing. And I've got work from clients because of stuff that they've seen that I've designed. So it kind of is marketing, but without calling it marketing or
yeah,
having to do things I don't particularly want to do. So I'm probably hiding because I don't want to do marketing. So I'll design some nice posters instead
yeah.
and call it
The
mark.
Call it marketing, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think that like it's the practice of design. I'll put all the links to to Ant's website and products in the thing. I should have worn a Punk Rock Run Club top actually for the
Yeah, you
video,
should have.
but I didn't think about that. But
But the Punk Rock Run Club's a prime example because it's not. I didn't set out to start a run club, and
no,
it's not really a proper run club as such as run clubs because people will actually go to a run club. But I started tagging my Instagram pictures Punk Rock Run Club because I was listening to shouty music whilst running. And then somebody said, "Oh, you should do a t-shirt." And so I did a t-shirt and then did several, bobble hats or whatever. And then there's a Strava run group that's got like 800 people in it. And it's kind of, but I'm never gonna go and start a run club where I have to run it and be accountable and have to be there at 7 o'clock on a Thursday every week of the year. That I'm just not interested in doing that,
yeah.
which is a shame. I think it'd be nice if I could do that, but I'm just not sure it's for me.
I think that's a really good point, right? There are people who love that, like would like that
Yeah,
organizational
they
part of it.
thrive off it.
Do you know what I mean? Like I quite like. I've run past people in like the Peak District with Punk Rock Run clubs on, with Punk Rock Run clubs, gone, hey, like we haven't stopped or anything. Just gone,
Yeah.
we've got the same top on.
Yeah, for that Punk Rock Run Club, I don't make any money out of it. All the money gets given to, all the profit gets given to Calm, a mental health charity, because that's what running to me is. It's a mental health
Yeah,
activity. So why not help promote mental health awareness at the same
indeed.
time?
That exactly, and I think that as that it seems it's very connected for a lot of people, like mental health and trail running or activity,
Mm.
whatever activity in the outdoors. But this nature connection piece, like we spoke last week to an episode about soon called Selena Hansen who runs Run the Mind, and she's an A6 front runner, so like kind of an ambassador for A6, but they've got a massive program about mental health, and she's a mental health first aid nurse and stuff. But that
Mm.
conversation between those two topics is interlinked, and we, it
Yeah.
definitely is for our crew with Matt, who also runs for Calm, right?
Mm.
But he's did you back Calm or support Calm through Matt? Did you discover them through Matt? That's where I did it, or was that part of your life already?
I think it probably is through Matt, actually, thinking about it. I don't think, because when I initially did the first ultra I did was just in training for the
Run the
ultra that I was
country,
doing to raise money for a hospice where my mother was before
right?
she passed away.
Yeah.
And then met Matt after that. Not even sure what year I met Matt, maybe 2000, wasn't it 2000, 2000-ish? Time has warped over the last few years. I haven't got a
Yeah.
clue what happened when.
No, me
But
neither.
yeah, so then after when I met Matt, that was when I don't even think Calm was, because Calm's quite recent because it was all Mind before
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Mind is the biggie, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the legacy
But yeah, I
one.
mean, it makes perfect sense for me to raise money for a charity that I think's really important, especially at the moment when government funding gets cut left, right, and centre. And in fact, there's another charity that I was thinking about leaving my support of Calm and going to My Black Dog, but they had to close up shop because they're not got enough money.
Oh wow.
And they're a really nice, very small charity. So it's worth checking them out, people.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Hopefully they'll get back up and running soon. So I've got a friend who's they do text chatting, and it's run by volunteers basically, and
Okay.
you get trained to be a mental health support person with the charity.
I text. Well, that's quite
Yeah,
good. Yeah, nice. Yeah, you have to ping me the links to that. I'll pop it in the thing. But there's so many kind of good reasons to start. We'll use the vehicle of trail running, but like goes wider than that to be an outsider, whether it's that your own challenges, other people's challenges, supporting stuff, just to reconnect with that, that opportunity or simplicity or play of a childhood. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what this podcast is about. Like we're just exploring other people's journey to being an outsider and how it correlates with everybody. And they even in these early days, there's definitely similarities, right? There's definitely things that connect everybody's reasons for doing this sort of thing, or the benefits of sort of doing it, which I think is an interesting place, and hopefully other people will kind of listen to it and get inspired to just do a little something in the green stuff.
Yeah, and that's the hard bit of getting started, right?
Yeah,
Like 0 to 5K, in my opinion, is no fun at all. It's the hardest 5K you're ever going to do is learning to run 5K.
yeah,
It's if you haven't run and you start running, it's horrible. But once you get past that and you start running between 5 and 10K, that's when you start getting a smile on your face and you can actually really enjoy it. And that it'd be really nice if everybody could run 5K, wouldn't it?
it
I
was.
think
It
the
was.
world would be a better place.
The world would be a better place if people took some of their time, that little bit of time every day to, well, not every day, a few times a week to be out and connect in nature. That's why a lot of the work stuff that came up was like we had an example in Derby City, which is the closest city to me, is like there's 143 different nationalities in the city and languages that speak. And they surveyed like a whole bunch of them, and it was like 63% of the nationalities don't go outside the house for anything bar shopping. Like,
Wow.
and I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's because it's a gateway city for refugees, and we accept people in. It's quite a nice ethos. There's some good charities that do that good work, but then they're so scared of using of coming out because they're in different places and it's a new thing and they
Mm.
don't know anybody and there's no sense of connection. So, using the vehicle of like, we're all just going to punk around this park that's a K. Like we'll do it 3 times, but you like walk it if you want to. It's a big circle. You can always see us. Like it's fine. There's a small hill on it. You don't have to run the small hill. You don't have to do the tree. Like I invented little things like tree sprint slalom. So when there's little rows of trees, like you have to sprint between like a slalom, trying to
Nice.
introduce like trail running fun
Yeah.
into it and a bit of a thing. But you know, when there's people who live in that, whatever it is, that thing, that space that they feel stuck or they don't have a choice or the ability or the accessibility or the freedom or the mindset to do something like that. Like if we can just get people to do that first one, to take that first step, I think it will be a better place.
Definitely. Definitely.
To,
Especially in inner cities. That'd be great.
yeah, to do a better place. So to finish off, well, I've got one question really. Like, what's the most kind of gobsmacking or inspiring, like best gift being an outsider has given you that we can share with the audience to hopefully get them moving themselves?
Crikey, that's a big one. Um, excuse me. I would say so. It's going to sound odd, but weightlessness. Is that a word? That's a word.
Sure. Yeah, let's
So
go with it.
when I'm running or walking in the hills, the weight of the world leaves me, if that makes sense. Like it's the mountain doesn't care that I'm there, and the mountain's not going to move. So it's me against the mountain. And all I've got to do is get to the top, and I can't think of anything else. And my mind, all of those worries and deadlines and bills fade away. And so I literally, feel weightless. So I think that makes sense.
That makes
So,
perfect sense for this podcast. And I think we'll leave it there. And thank you very much for being on.
my pleasure.
You're
Thanks
a
for having me.
gentleman. And I'll see you all next time. Let me